Welcome to Enriches Papers. Today we're going to talk about limiting your color palette and why that might be a good thing for your models. What's up, Miniatures Paintbrush Legion? This is Rob, your host, and today we're going to talk about limiting your color palette. Now, this actually came about by a competition or challenge that Chilling Wargamers offered and issued to all painters to be able to use 3 colors and black in order to paint up a miniature. Now, he did a couple other stipulations. I can prime it any way I want. Like, I can prime it with any color I want to start with, which, hooray. And then he said that it could be any base, so I can do anything with the base that I want. So, that's great. I mean, I wanted to do something unique for the base. Now, I wouldn't paint this miniature. I wouldn't take this to Golden Demoner or something like that, personally, because I would like to expand my color range just a little bit more, having about like 5 colors to be able to do it. But 3 colors plus black, I'll take it for this one. So let's talk about what I learned from this kind of experience and what you might be able to gather if you're doing the same thing. So you would think that more colors would be better and for this color scheme for your model. I mean, yeah, more stuff. Woo, that's awesome. But no, the opposite is kind of true. If you put too many colors onto your miniature, and they end up conflicting with each other. They're fighting each other for dominance of the miniature, and you kind of look at it and it kind of looks a little bit messy to an extent. Now, to limit your range of pigments actually adds a theme to your miniature. So let's say if you have a Salamander's army and you have that lava base, so that green and that red, that blue, that warm and that cold color combining to really fight, it makes for a really high contrasting, dynamic kind of miniature playing out, and it's really, really effective. Yet if you had too many light sources and too many things competing, you just don't know where to start and where to end. Limiting your painting palette actually makes your piece more harmonious, more together. Like something is in the environment, and everything that is in that environment is not only affecting the environment itself, but it's actually affecting the miniature as well. So let's say if there was green pastures, you're going to want to include green into your model as well, because the light is going to reflect that green into the model. Another thing that I really pushed my comfort zone here was in doing a limited palette, I had to learn new ways to come up with traditional colors that I would do normally when I'm painting up my miniatures. So I was going for my Space Wolves miniature. And within that miniature, I wanted to typically have blues and yellow for the shoulder, and then red accents, which is great. But one of the things that I really pushed is a lot of brown tones, right? So I did a lot of bone colors, and I did a lot of browns, and especially with the fur and stuff like that going on. So, I had to figure out a way to make brown, essentially. And one of the ways that I did do that was actually mixing up yellow with the blue. Now, no matter the subject that you're actually painting, using a limited color palette and actually isolating things to having your basic colors, it actually helps. All right, guys, so a little bit of a disclaimer. Mike actually came into the challenge as well, but with the COVID virus and not having that social distancing, that I thought it was best that maybe he wouldn't be here to do this part of the show. That's not saying that he can't submit things to me and I can't show it on the show. It's just like it might not be here, like he's not here with me. So of course, being me in my fashion, I'm gonna have some kind of tutorial on how I did it. So let's go down to Table Town. Alrighty, so I know it's primed black, but I primed it black from a different tutorial, actually, when I scraped off all the mold lines from here. What I wanted to do here is kind of separate the arms. I didn't like the way that they were like pushed together. It looked constipated, so I took some green stuff and I put it in there. But before I did that, I put some poster tack just to simulate what it would look like. So here's what it looks like with the green stuff in and the arms separated. It gives a more aggressive look to that rune priest. Now I'm going to set the model over here onto the base just so I can get a footprint. I'm actually going to put some PVA glue in there, and that's white glue. I like Elmer's glue, but not the school glue, but more like the glue all. I think it's thick enough. And once I set that corkboard base in there, I'm going to take some road gravel and I'm going to set it in there to create this scene for the base. See Willie plus Nilly on this one. And then I'm going to take some skulls and I'm going to cover the top piece with light earth from AK Interactive just to smooth out the top piece right there. Next up, let's create some lighting. I unsheathed some copper from some wire in order to do so. Just be very careful with this process because you can cut yourself. Okay, so I take some jewelry bending pliers here and I'm just going to bend the wire to my will just to try to simulate a lightning strike. So a lot of jagged edges wherever you possibly can in order to do that. Alright, some green stuff onto the base and I'm just going to set this in there and then flatten it out. I'm also going to add some pieces or chunks of debris so it looks like it's shattering as well. Alright, so next up I got some earring hoops also from the jewelry section there, and what I do is I'm going to cut them apart and bend them and then glue them together so I can have additional lightning strikes right there. So you have to take a look at what that looks like. So yeah, very easy to do. So we're going to add that feature on with the glue and we're just going to put it on there so we can have lightning strikes going everywhere. Because to simulate lightning itself, you have to have that random pattern, which I created right there. So I'm going to put that into the base so it looks like the actual weapon itself is creating the lightning, which is crashing down. I wanted to give that base a simulated look, so this way when I paint it, I can paint it Stynol Res white, and now I'm going to prime it. Now this is the original additional thing, so we're going to prime the whole darn thing over here all into white. And I'm going to get it into there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back with the black. And you're going to add the black back into it after you painted white. So you prime one and then reverse engineer it, or reverse kind of like put the light in opposite. So usually I would paint it all black and then do the white bits, but now I had to do it in reverse in this case because I could have primed it any other color I wanted, so I chose white for that. It's the only way I could have accomplished this goal. Alright, so next up I am taking my blue color here and just giving it like a light glaze, kind of using that the white and the black to set values for where I want it to be, and just reinforce the black with that blue so it'll be a darker blue there, using the blue as a zenithal right there. Alright, so next up I'm going to prime the actual base. Now it's going to take a lot of primer to do because the primer does not want to stick to the metal bits there, so it's going to take several coats in order for me to get that. So just coat it and dry and coat it and dry, so everything is like very wet here. But yeah, I'm going to definitely prime it black because I can do anything I want with a base according to the competition. Alright, so here are my colors. I have the yellow and the red, and I'm just like playing around with it and see what I can get. I see I can get some orange tone here, and then generally just playing with the paint. And I'm going to just stick to this little area here for my triad colors. So it is that with black that I can use and a blue. So that's all I have is red, yellow, black and blue. So let me just like put the colors together, and what I'm doing is just playing on the palette. And if you're going to limit your color source, play on your palette, mix the colors together, see what kind of gradients you can get, what kind of colors you can get. I think that's like the easiest thing that you can do if you want to determine all the colors that will be at your disposal for this activity. So let me add some blue onto this mix and see what I can create from here. So I have like a deep orange or sienna, and here is, if I add the blue to this crazy mix, or if I add yellow to that blue there, I get like almost like a warm kind of bone-ish kind of color. Just like playing around with that. Again, just literally throwing things on my wet palette, creating different colors. So that looks sort of like a tannish bone to me right there. And that's what I'm going to use for my bone color. Who's crazy? Again, I was just playing with it on my palette and see what would happen. And this is the result. And I'm kind of happy with it. I mean, it's not the exact bone white that I would normally use, but hey, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. So next up, I am actually literally going to paint this miniature right in front of you using those colors that you see there on the palette. So the black, the red, and the yellow. I sped this up 300% so you can actually see me do the entire process. You know, I didn't want to skimp out on you guys, and the final result came out so well that even I looked at it and said, no, I must have used more than 3 colors there. So I wanted to kind of prove to everyone that, yeah, no, I actually just used 3 colors. Now I was playing around here with a shadow casting in red, but then I went back to the bone and I was like, maybe not, but I wanted a little darker, so you know, I added some of the red into that bone mix there, just to have some kind of shadow or warm shadow to it. So there's the bone. All right, I do the bone throughout the entire miniature there. Now next up, I am going to do or simulate yellowish gold onto the Aquila. So, you know, I don't know, it came out yellow, off yellow, I guess, and I wasn't too happy with it, but then, you know, that's part of the challenge, to be able to paint as good as you possibly can with what you have. So there it is. Now the idea here is when I primed it white, I left it white on the bottom left-hand side when I primed it. So this way it could simulate, you know, the flash of the lightning strike. Also, you know, they have like bags and baubles and stuff coming on the right-hand side of the miniature. And I didn't see a way to not paint it. So I created the lightning strike idea, so this way I don't have to paint those little areas and they can just like bleached out white. And I'll just suit the miniature itself. So in a way, you know, not painting something or finding a way not to paint something, so this way I can get away with using the color. So I took the black here and I made a wash with it just by using some matte medium within that black to be able to get that wash in there and reinforce the yellow for the shoulder pad for simulate a little bit of like a goldish kind of color. Yeah, that was about as close as I can possibly get to the gold, because I couldn't use peanut butter or beige or brown, so it was kind of really rough, or even violet. I mean, I guess I could, you know, yellow and blue it, but I don't know. I try to get a brown. All I can get is a tan. But not that I'm complaining, because that's exactly what I used for the bone. So it took me a while to paint this, and I have to say the challenge itself was literally challenging. I felt frustrated because I really wanted to pull colors. Like I have hundreds of different bottles of paint right around me, but I can only stay onto this palette right here. And you know, I don't know. I did not enjoy the challenge. I did not enjoy the miniature when I built it because it's fine cast. I did not enjoy the challenge. So you know what? I just got it done, right? And the result is not so bad. You know, I would definitely put it within my army case. I don't hate it to the point where I'm gonna get rid of it. You know, at first I thought I was going to get rid of it. Now this was interesting. Now I created a gray by using the black and the blue onto the palette, so this way I can do the actual dog tags, I guess you can call it, dog runes that are on this miniature. So it's pretty interesting there. Then I put red onto the symbol in the middle. And I thought, at first I was going to do flaming runes and stuff like that. And I was like, that's just such a cluttered miniature, and I didn't know what to do with it because there's just so many runes there. It wouldn't look right if I painted them all. But since I didn't have the option of actually, I had red, only one type of red, and then yellow, but it just didn't look right. The red and yellow that I had selected there would be more like a hot dog kind of red and yellow, so, I didn't want to do that for my flame runes. So what I did was I just painted them bright red, that bright red there. Every other rune, I would say, here and there throughout the miniature. Okay, so next up, black, and what I'm doing is between the ceramite armor and the cords, they're all going to be black, and the weapon is going to be sort of black. I chose to do a pattern, which I'll show you later. So yeah, just painting in the black, adding in some definition between the ceramite and everything else, and the vents and the cords. They're all going to be black. Black, black, everything black, I guess. Made it a lot easier. And then I started putting layers of yellow onto the shoulder pad. And I'll tell you what, it's diluted, so it took me a very long time to get that shoulder pad. I think I did like 8 or 9 passes to get it, a nice, rich, solid color there. Added some blue later just to give some kind of highlight to it. I don't know. It was kind of rough, man. It was kind of rough. All right, so now to paint the weapon, I painted it that red as well. I go in later and I glaze out the red so this way some of the white stays into that weapon there. And the reason why I did that is because, I kind of wanted to give it a hot spot, or a highlight. So I had to figure if I just use thinner paint and use the white that was in the primer, it would create a highlightish glow onto that side of the weapon to add realism to it. I'm telling you, I had to find different ways to think about painting when I painted this model. It was pretty tough. But, resiliency. I made it through. I could say I survived this challenge more than I thrived in this challenge, but what the heck. Do I think I might do a challenge again anytime in the foreseeable future? I would say no. No way. Not my thing. All right, so now for the gun, what I did was I painted that black as well, and the symbol on the side, and then I go back later on and I do some highlights with that light blue, just to simulate a gleam throughout the weapon itself. But I do have to tell you this much: for me painting this model, it didn't take me long at all. If it took me 3 days, I did wait to publish this video solely because I wanted to make sure that I don't leave too much of a time or everybody can see my model and they can gun for it, because when some people already have some people who would normally quit and say, okay, I'm not going to paint the miniature anymore, then would look at this entry piece and say, oh no, I need to push it further in order to try to beat that. So I don't want to be a target. So it's kind of rough. Not to, to complete this and then just hold on to it and then just publish the challenge results at the last possible minute. So either I did a hawk kind of design with the black there, and just being very careful that I don't mess up that primer that was underneath it. I had to do something with that weapon. It seemed really boring just to leave it just black, so I just used a primer or pre-primer there, and then I had to outline it. My black lining skill has gotten better as of late, so it's not really that hard for me to up the contrast by doing black lines in between things in the shoulder, things in the back, all over the place. Plus, I had the black wash that I made out of the black that I had in order to add some, deeper shadows in certain areas. Also, some glazed medium would go a long way as well to add in some kind of darkness, so not a problem. But I wanted to leave that stark contrast, and I think that I really did pull off that lightning was striking, and that there was, that brightness just lit up the model so much that it actually I think I pulled it off, and I didn't have to paint half the stuff that was on that left leg, and I didn't have to do all that variation of color because, I don't have a lot of color there. So, hey, any way that you can really make things easier for yourself, then you do so. I did have to say, as far as the quality of the paint job, I don't know, it seems like something I could have done like 3 years ago, and I guess would have taken my time to do it. It just doesn't seem like my best work, more like I just want to get this done work. And I like to push myself with each miniature and not limit myself. That's why it was kind of frustrating to do that. Now, I had to do a design. I found that gray color that I made before, I'm using the blue and the black, and I made stripes on the fur underneath the gun, the tassel. Now I'm doing just black lining as many runes as possible, so when I paint it, it actually sticks out. And I decided to paint like every other rune red. I feel that red is a color that really stands out from a longer distance, so I really wanted to do that. So now I'm doing blue here, and I'm just going to do some highlighting, which was tricky because that blue in itself doesn't like to be trained down and toned down or whatnot. So next up, we have some red that I'm just going to put into every other kind of rune there, and just painting it red is all I did. And I think the red is a nice, there wasn't enough red. There's red on the gun, but I kind of want to tie it into the rest of the miniature. There's red in the eyes, but it was just so minimal. So red was the choice to go for when it comes to the ruins. And as long as you're not painting all the ruins, it looks good. I'm staying away from the ruins from the left leg because I want that, the flash of the lightning to obscure that detail as much as possible. And I did take some varying forms of red by putting a little bit of black in there. This way I can have some kind of gradient and to simulate some kind of shadow casting throughout. Alright, let me reinforce the red in the eyes right there as well. I'm just about done with this miniature. Just a couple of more things to go. But all in all, I think it looks pretty cool. I think it came out really, really well. Now just reinforcing the shadows. I'm going to do the little panel lines within there, black lining because I can't use Citadel shades or oil washes, so I just rely on my black lining, and my black lining has come a long way. So this is just a technical thing that I did just to keep the my hand straight and use the brush control to just to highlight those and paint those, or freehand using the tip of the brush, all those little panel lines that you guys see there. Just reinforcing that detail makes a huge difference. Alright, time for the decal. And decal works better when you put micro sol onto it, micro set when you want it to set it down. And, it kind of flattens out the actual decal, so this way it conforms to that round shoulder surface. Now I am happy that that shoulder surface is completely round, and there's no like golden detail that I needed to add to it, because then that wouldn't look that great in my opinion. So I am grateful for the miniature for that. Okay, AK interactive snow. I'm gonna put on the base because that's what I put on all my bases for the Space Wolves. And again, this is going to go into my army, so I'm just trying to make it as thematic as possible. So there you go. I wanted to make sure that I had that variation, and since I could do anything with the base that I wanted, so there you go. And we're going to add other details to it. I did add the snow here, but I completely forgot that I usually put glitter into that recipe. Yeah, that's right. Glitter glue goes a long way, and you're going to see that I actually paint with glitter glue, not onto the miniature but onto the base, because I can do anything I want with the base. Alright, so I'm going to put some Scrappy Cat glitter glue there, and I'm just going to put that into the sparkles, into the snow itself. And then as I was putting it into the snow itself, I kind of gotten an idea. I was like, you know what? What if I dilute the glue just a little bit and start painting the lightning with it as well? So you're going to see me do that as well. So I have some sparkle to the lightning. So if you do in the pictures, I'll try to get some reflection. If you see the reflection, it's because of the sparkle coming from the glue. And here it is, just watering it down and painting the actual lightning itself, because I want it to glitter, you know, I want it to really sparkle. And I think it came out pretty well. I think the idea was pretty good, and the follow through came out really well. So now if you see it and you rotate the miniature in the light, you're going to see a sparkle here and there from the lightning itself. And I think it came out heck-a cool, if you were to ask me. But then again, I'm biased, aren't I? Yeah, I don't know. I think my miniature is kind of trash compared to my last work, so here it is in its glory. Last finishing detail is going to be the most satisfying, which is painting the rim. And the rim is that Space Wolves gray that I use. That gray that I use for Minotaur for the base itself, since I can do anything onto the base, which is the actual miniature itself that only has 3 colors. So I put that color just so it can match the rest of my army. That's the only reason, because all my army are done in that color, and since this is going in my army, there you go. So pretty proud of the miniature and how it came out, and I hope you like the entire process that I filmed, and I hope you like the miniature, and I hope you I guess vote for the miniature. I'd appreciate that if you do, and if you like it. Well, there you go. Is that Room Priest, and I'll tell you, I had a lot of fun creating lightning. That's something that I wouldn't have learned or tried if I haven't done this experiment or participated in this challenge. So creating lightning strikes was a lot of fun to be able to do. It was a little frustrating not being able to go to my go-to brown colors or earth colors or green colors to be able to do a couple of things. But all in all, I think it'll fit really well into my Space Wolves army, where is an army where I try to just push myself in a whole bunch of different directions and, you know, consciously try to get better with each piece that I do. Well, thank you so much for Chilling Wargamers for actually issuing the challenge and opening it up to other different content creators. And you haven't checked that challenge, if you haven't checked Chilling Wargamers, go check them out. Give them a sub and a like. If you like this video, you can do the same. In fact, if you like this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush. What's up, everyone? Well, thank you for watching the video. Now, I do wanted to give you a heads up about some links that I have below in the description. This is part of my Amazon affiliate program, and if you click on those links and buy the featured items, and these are items that I use and I really do enjoy, if you buy any of them, or if you click on the link, search something, and buy something completely different, then the channel will get a kickback. That is a percentage. Now, it costs you absolutely nothing to be able to do that. Now, if you do want to support the channel, I encourage you to click onto that link and go shopping. And if you don't want to do that, well, that's okay too. I'm kind of glad you just came out to hang out, and I really appreciate that. Well, I'll catch you next time.